CJ is, I know I said you're all my heroes, and you are, but CJ is truly a hero. She is the grandmother of a young child from our community who really struggled, and CJ stuck by her every step of the way through her struggles. I think the Moran Center did too, but I'll let CJ tell her story.
So you know my name is CJ. I'm going to share just a bit about why the Moran Center is so important to me. In order to do that, though, I need to tell you about my granddaughter. Her name is Jen. I also need to tell you that I'm heavily medicated because I have a really bad cold. So if I begin to nod, then you only need to say "Grandma," and I will be right back with you. So Genesis is 14. She's bright, she's funny, she's pretty, she curses like a sailor, and she has a mean right hook. And I know all of that because I've experienced it firsthand. Genesis is sick. She started out perfectly normal little girl. At 2, she would tell you, I want to be a hairdoer and a Harvard graduate attorney. Now, I suspect she really wanted to be the hairdoer, but I think the other part was from her alum Howard graduate attorney uncle who was pushing going to law school. She did not begin to have problems until she was older. I was convinced that Genesis was going to do everything that my family did. You went to college, you picked an occupation, and all was okay. My child was not going to get in trouble. That just didn't happen in my family. When she became 12, she started to have problems. She had to be hospitalized. When she came out the first time, I was told that she was bipolar. I was referred to the Moran Center when Genesis assaulted me and a random stranger. She felt that the stranger was trying to take her gifts from her. So, who's the Moran Center? Need to tell you that I was the director of diversity and inclusion for United Way. I also selected what agencies got funding. So I checked out the Moran Center. They did good stuff. Okay, that's cool, so we'll see what happens. Through it all, I could not have made it without the center. Genesis, Wood, and I were on a merry-go-round. She would hit me, she would run away from home, they would find her, she would go to the hospital, she would be released once it was determined that she was not a threat to herself or others, and that cycle would start over and over and over again. The criminal piece of it was horrendous, and we don't have enough time or popcorn for me to go into how bad that was. What Patrick did was extraordinary, which would just be enough to say that the Moran Center does great work. But the Moran Center does more than that. They understand that the child is not a single person in terms of this is her only characteristics. They understood that not only was she affected, but me as her grandmother was affected because we were a family unit. They understood that it wasn't enough to keep her out of the judicial system that would have taken this child and put her in a place where she couldn't get the services that they needed. They got that. They got that we were dealing with trying to reconcile. I remember when all of this was going on, I said, nothing more can happen. Note to self and friends, don't say that. I found out then that I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And so while all of this was going on, I had to have surgery and go through chemo. My entire family lived on the West Coast. So I had no one but just Jen and I. When I was so weak that I was not able to take care of her, this child who would run away and not take her medication, it was Patrick who worked with the hospital facility to make sure that they could keep her there until I was well enough to take care of her. When everyone agreed that she needed to have and be in a residential facility, and I went and asked several state entities, what can I do? Said, well, you need to put her in a residential facility. Okay, let's do that. How do I do that? How do I, as a retired individual, pay from $5,000 to $10,000 a month to have her placed in a resident facility? What should I do? Well, try for a grant. Thank you. What grant? Well, let's try the ICG grant. Cool. What do I need to do? Well, you can't do it. And I can't do it for another 6 months. It was Patrick who wrote the grant and received it. So now we have a grant. Now we just need to look for some place for her. There were no beds in Evanston. So not being able to put her in a facility, but at the same time, Genesis was running away and she was picked up and she was put in juvenile hall. It was Patrick who worked with the facilities, understanding that she was so fragile, she would not be able to make it in the general population. He had her put in the medical end of the facility. So we find a place. It's in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is far, but I need to have my child taken care of. So I said, I'm going to do this. They said, fine, all you need is insurance. Not a problem. She is insured. Well, she's only insured Illinois. Not a problem, I'll call Pennsylvania. Can't insure in Pennsylvania because she's a resident of Illinois. Okay, I'll go through the marketplace. Well, since she's under 14, that's not going to work because when you're under 14 and it's underwritten by the government, you have to go to Medicaid. We remember, this isn't a test, but we remembered Illinois and Pennsylvania Medicaid said no. And so it was Patrick and the Moran Center who helped me work through that. It was those fine groups who took my hand, who helped me, and Patrick talked me more than once off the ledge. And I would say, Patrick, don't try and manage me. No, CJ. Not happening. And he managed me, and I needed it. So we finally get insurance, maybe. And so Patrick and I are going through this for the insurance. There's this little piece that says you will get no insurance if you're incarcerated. Well, Genesis is incarcerated. So how does that work? And Patrick and I came up with the idea and talked the facility into saying, we promise that she'll have insurance by the time you get there. And so while Genesis was in the air, I could say, no, she isn't incarcerated, and we could get insurance. So the reason why I'm here to talk to you, drugged and sick, is because I want to share with you that the Moran Center gets it. They understand what it feels like, what needs to happen to a family that's in need. And that's why I'm here. Genesis is in a facility doing fairly well. She asked about Patrick a great deal, saying, okay, when's he gonna get me out? He's my attorney. I explained to her, well, you have a new attorney, Verity. Well, who is she? You know. But she's this really special person who is still helping you. So she's doing okay, and I'm doing okay. And none of that would have happened without the Moran Center. So let's make sure that we're able to meet the challenge. Thank you for your time.